WPCA on Monday, April 13th, the Town Hall. Mr. Secretary, could you please call the roll?
Michelle. Elsa Payne, Chairman.
Present.
Ian Featherstone, Vice Chairman.
Present.
George D. Quiz, Secretary, present. Chuck Worley.
Present.
John F. Claffey Jr. is absent. Jason Becker.
Present.
Robert Mazzell.
He's
Peter-
resigned.
Resigned. I'll put that down. Thank you.
Should we have that removed off this?
Okay, yeah, good point.
Yeah, we'll get the coordinator to do that when she comes back from
Okay.
vacation.
And next one is Peter Stump, alternate.
Present.
And Robert Singer, alternate.
Present.
Roll call has been taken, Madam Chairman.
Okay. So we're seating both alternates this evening. Thank you. Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, may I have a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting on March 23rd?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of March 23rd.
I'll second.
Okay. Any comments or corrections? No?
Okay.
Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? May I have a motion to approve the minutes of the special meeting on April 6th?
I'll make a motion to approve of the special meeting minutes of April 6th.
I'll second.
Okay. Any comments on those from the board? No? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Okay. Does any member wish to address the board?
There's one subject that I want to mention. It's got a title called Mariner's Way. The subject was put in the latest issue of Old Saybrook Events. And I'll just go over the three categories covering for the expansion. I know at their last meeting I had mentioned about 186 homes were being considered. This here is working on a section of Route 1 in Old Saybrook to redevelop it for a commercial corridor. And the three things, I'll be very brief, that will be looked at is what they call, number one, brownfields assessment, where we'll get a state grant of $155,000 to look at 9 lots located in the Mariner's Way. Next one, rezoning. The Economic Development Commission is currently reviewing existing regulations in Mariner Ways, and public input regarding zoning changes will be invited once this initial review is completed. And the last one is what the category is called branding, and that's creating a unique sense of place for Mariner's Way, easily recognizable in a logo, signage, and market materials to attract businesses and developments. Thank you. So that's what we'll be addressing. See you.
Is that in the WWMD, George?
That's in this book here.
No.
No. Oh,
It's not in this one.
Uh-oh.
It starts where the former Stanley Motors was.
Oh,
on
yes.
Route 1, and it goes to between the bridges.
Yeah. Yeah, right down, oh, they mentioned here too, Ferry Road.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay. We'll go on to the staff reports, starting with financial.
First thing up is the operating budget report for March. I can point out a couple things. why don't we go with the red ink?
Mhm.
The mileage, is always over. We've made that correction in the upcoming budget. We finally asked for and are going to receive a budget equal to the dollars we actually spend. Vehicle maintenance and equipment maintenance, it has all been done. This reflects all the bills for the annual maintenance and any repairs that need to be done to the white truck or the red van or the Crown Vic or the Kubota. The legal counsel, you've got another bill tonight, which Carl tells me will be the last bill in this fiscal year. He and I had a brief meeting about the budget. He looked at it. It looks like we're still going to be, despite this, giving money back to the town on June 30th. Not a whole lot, but some.
But this legal line, which is currently in a deficit of 18,500, is gonna jump to, what, more than 50?
No,
No.
this fiscal year, the bill we're gonna look at tonight is $2,600. And that should be it until June 30.
Okay, but the one for phase 2 is not charged.
That is that, and I will explain that, but it does not come out of the operating
Yeah.
account.
Okay,
It's unrelated.
okay. It's a big number.
Well, I will explain. A lot of work was done for that big number, and it's been about 3 or 4 years since we had a similar bill, so we'll get to that one.
All right, well, then I'll entertain a motion to accept this report.
I'll make a motion, we accept the operating budget dated April 6, 2015, up through the month of March.
I'll second that motion.
Okay. Any further discussion or comments? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained?
Okay, on the invoices, can we do the Hartford Current and Shore Publishing, which are pretty straightforward, and then get to the legal issues?
Certainly.
The bill for the Hartford Current came in today. It is for the invitation to bid for Meadowwood 2, in the amount of $531.25. And the Shore Publishing bill was for all the legal notices that were required for the benefit assessments, and that is in the amount of $842.30.
May I have a motion to pay those invoices, please?
I'll make a motion, we pay the Hartford Current $531.25, and Shore Publishing $842.30.
I'll second that motion.
Any questions for Gracia on that? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained?
Okay. Let's delve into Shipping and Goodwin, shall we? The $33,041.38 bill from Shipping and Goodwin encompasses work to prepare the Phase 2 application and to prepare the interim funding obligation for Phase 2. It is submittable to DEEP for reimbursement on a 50-50 basis. The total amount in the interim funding for this purpose is $62,500. This is the first half of it. The remainder of that line item, if you want to call it that, is for the work at the end of phase 2, when the interim funding obligation is switched over to the permanent funding obligation. You had a similar bill at the beginning of phase 1. So what he did for phase 1 is essentially the same work that he did for phase 2.
I assume, when you say similar, I assume you're saying similar scope and similar cost.
Similar scope and similar cost. Actually, this is less because it was, I think phase 1 was $65,000.
Okay.
So we saved it.
That's similar. Okay, thank you.
It's the same document that has, you know, from the state that has.
Sure, understand.
Do I have a motion to pay the,
I'll make a motion that we pay the 2 invoices for Shipman and Goodwin for phase 1 in the amount of $1,524, and for phase 2 for $33,041.38.
I'll second that motion.
Can I briefly explain the other bill?
Yes. Right?
The bill for $1,524 is residual work for phase 1 activities. It's, and as I noted on this, it is benefit assessments and benefit assessment appeals. There is no phase 1 money anymore, so it is not reimbursable. But I met with Carl today and we're going to pay it out of the 210 account.
Is there a reason this was submitted late? Is this?
No, we can't, we have no money to submit it to.
No, I'm sorry. Submit to us. Why are we paying it now rather than before phase 1 was done?
Because the activities were post October 31st. There was a meeting that Bruce attended on the 10th of November. And in December and January, reviews and discussions of the construction management cost benefit assessment procedure. And then there was a small amount of time and money with a discussion between Bruce and Attorney Conway regarding the appeals. So it just sort of doesn't fit anywhere, and it is a small amount of money, and in the 210 account is 25% of the grant money. So essentially this $1,500 will come out of the multiple hundreds of thousands of grant money. I think it was like 800 some odd thousand of grant money that came to the town. It seemed the easiest thing to do, because it really does not fit in the operating contractual.
Okay.
So that was our thinking. If
anyone care to comment or?
why the last bill was the last effort was dated 1/11/15, and I received this morning via email. I cannot offer any enlightenment on that.
it's hardly worth it, but the $76, if we win the appeal, does that?
Yes, well, this is gonna be this is double filed, Chuck. I have a file that is totally related and has copies of all the invoices, and it will have a copy of this.
Okay. Okay, anything else? Okay, all those in favor of paying the Shipman and Goodwin invoices signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained?
Okay, we have two more invoices, an additional legal for Laughlin Fitzgerald for their professional services for the month of March in the benefit assessment appeals in the amount of $2,599.
Okay, may I have a motion?
I'll make a motion, we pay the Laughlin Fitzgerald bills in the amount of $2,599.
I'll second that motion.
Okay. Any questions? Comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Abstained?
Okay, is that a no?
That's a no.
Thank you. I'm the note taker tonight, so. The final bill is our first construction invoice for Phase 2. It is for 9 Allendale Road in the amount of $11,400. Required a septic tank, a leaching system, and additional select fill for the leaching system.
Okay, may I have a motion to pay that invoice?
I'll make a motion to pay that invoice.
Okay.
I'll second that motion to pay the bill.
Okay. Any questions?
Comment. It's nice to have a construction invoice after
Yeah.
6, 8 months.
Happy spring. Okay. Anyone else? All set? Okay.
Yes.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained?
Needless to say, the contract has been signed between JTR and the town. That's it.
Very good.
You want to tell us about the coordinators?
I do want to make a few comments. Robbie handed out, since she's on vacation, a written report. But I just wanted to highlight a few things. Both she and Gracia put a tremendous amount of time into getting the conventional work started, and she's listed those activities there. She has also worked for me in helping to compile the data and a lot of the documents we need for the start of our scope of work plan. In Saybrook events for this quarter, she and I did a WPCA update, and she put in another article on native plants. And she's handled quite a few sort of visits and calls from residents with regard to the construction and some other issues as well. So that's what she's been up to. The Fuss and O'Neill report reflects the conventional work that we've been doing. Gracia said that the contract has been awarded to Jeff Rummel. The Meadowood 2 contract, we had a bid opening on, and Jeff Rummel was the low bidder on that contract as well. And that's going through the process at the moment. Fuss and O'Neill, excuse me, Fuss and O'Neill is also working on Maple Avenue North to get those contracts kind of started as Last week's special meeting, we approved the scope of work, and we now started to work on the list of properties for that. We'll probably meet with Wright Pierce this week. And I'm starting to set up access agreements to some of those properties. Last Thursday, I gave an overview of the WPCA program to the Sea Level Rise Committee. Thursday. They had a lot of good questions. Some I could answer, some I couldn't, relating to the future. They have a longer timeline that they're looking at. And Friday, I attended a conference on the health of Long Island Sound in Bridgeport. And I handed out a few handouts from that conference. I wanted you to see the scope of what they were covering. A very distinguished group of environmental scientists, also legislators, people from the state regulators, and kind of gave an update on the state of nitrogen in Long Island Sound. So it was very worthwhile to attend. There's a couple of documents on some of the things that they're dealing with. Nitrogen is still an issue, and our program is really part of a much larger picture in terms of pollution and remediation to Long Island Sound. It's a serious situation. Environmentally, requires not only pollution abatement from all of those towns that live immediately around the sound, but looking at those watersheds, all the towns that in various ways through stormwater or through runoff from fertilizers, septic systems, all of those things continue to contribute a significant level of nitrogen to Long Island Sound. And even though they have, in the last, I don't know, 5 or 10 years, reduced the emissions from water treatment plants by virtue of regulations and upgrades to those plants, there's still a significant level of nitrogen from fertilizer runoff, from stormwater, from septic systems. So we will continue to see what they call hypoxic zones of varying intensity in Long Island Sound. Hypoxia is reduced oxygen, where it's reduced down to almost nothing, and call it a dead zone. And in the summer, we do have some of those areas in the western end of the sound, but there are also reduced levels, sometimes half or 2/3 of the rest of the sound to varying degrees. So it's not like in a biological world where one block is bad and the rest is good. It kind of bleeds into everything else, and it's a continuing problem. So what we're doing here, I think, is important, and I wanted to just make that point to the board in terms of our work. So that's been it for the past week or so.
Thanks.
I have some questions. The Maple Avenue project, how close are we to getting that out to bid?
Well, it has to be done this year, but we'll roll those out as soon as we have the information. We get everybody signed in, all the test holes dug, and that information, along with the field notes, goes to Fuss and O'Neill, who starts putting the bid documents together. So I believe there's 5, right, Gracia?
Yes.
And they'll be rolled out, you know, in sequential fashion.
5 different contracts?
5 different contracts.
5 different contracts
for the work
involving
we
how many
anticipate.
properties again?
100
Yeah. Well, between
I think it's 116, but,
In Maple Avenue?
yeah,
Yeah, I
plus
remember that.
or minus 1 or 2.
160, you're saying?
16.
116.
One,
Oh, okay.
don't talk anymore.
Okay, so,
So where do we get the other 300 properties?
There's not 300, there's a total of probably, I think it's 212, some.
No, I know that. I'm saying, I had the impression that we were looking at getting 500 properties done this year,
No,
calendar year?
no, that was never considered. This will account for somewhere around 300 properties in terms of others that were compliant and planned for this year. Actual construction was a little over 200, including Ingham Hill, Meadowwood, and Maple Avenue North.
Okay,
I can, if you want to see me, I have the numbers.
Okay. So how many properties were there in phase 2 that we had to do total? 600 plus?
No, that's not a number that we have at the moment. We have a plan to do properties per year at the moment, instead of looking at it in a phase.
Okay.
Some of this is dependent upon our other endeavor, which is the scope of work that we just approved.
Okay, one other question. I see Fuss and O'Neill's doing quite a bit of work here. And last year we had discussed a different method of billing the construction work that they do. Or is that going to happen? Not going to happen?
That is, as far as Fuss and O'Neill is concerned, it's not going to happen. We are not in a position to have a commercial venture restructure their entire accounting methodology to accomplish an individual. We can, as I explained last year, we can assign a gross number for direct engineering services, meaning design and those kinds of activities that are directly related to the construction installation of the system. We have that number, and we can assign it over the number of properties that were involved in that activity. So, for example, I will have an engineering design number for Ingham Hill 1, Meadowwood 1. And that final number will be divided by the number of properties within that specific contract, and that will be the assignable engineering soft cost. It is separated out to that extent, and that is as far as it can be. That isn't even how they do their work. If they're designing, they're not tracking that, oh, I spent 5 minutes drawing that tree on 123 Main Street, and I spent 15 minutes drawing that swimming pool and that mini forest on 456 Main Street. That's not how they do their work, and so that's not how they bill. So,
okay, doesn't sound like what we were talking about, but anyway, there is another issue that I remember when Fuss and O'Neill did their proposal on phase 2, which I don't think we've ever accepted as a contract. Do we have a contract with Fuss and O'Neill?
yes. Amendment number 14.
Amendment number 14. Did amendment number 14 say something like $1,000 per?
Exactly, but they are billing less than that.
That's all right. That would be good.
So it would be okay if I took the lesser of the two costs.
Okay, so if that's what they're proposing, and I mean the intention was to get those engineering costs into construction costs for what was part of the construction. So
And
What you're saying is that's not, we can't do that, it's not gonna happen.
no,
Okay, then I'm
I'm
not here.
still
It's
having
being
trouble
done as a
explaining
blanket.
this.
Over all the properties that are part of the contract or part of the
Okay.
phase. It's just not broken out to individual properties. It's probably a fairer way to do it, because that way, there's gonna be little ups and downs.
Well, no, I understand
I think it's fairer to spread the total engineering costs for the phase, because the properties are all relatively similar.
Using the protocol, which is where we are right now, and that's not to say that that's how we're gonna do it, but taking the protocol that was established in phase one. When all was said and done, the construction management costs consisted of basically two items. CRAD and their fees minus a couple things that, you know, a property owner doesn't pay for them to go to a meeting, that kind of thing. And the direct engineering costs related to construction. We have those numbers. In fact, if you'd like me to email them to you, I can do that as to where we are through the month of February, I believe.
We haven't been billed anything for phase two by
we?
Fussno, have we? I don't remember approving any invoices, but maybe we did.
Yeah, my invoice dump,
Oh, that one, jeez.
that was,
Okay.
they started back in August. It was like a $200 bill in August, and then,
And we think that that's gonna come in less than $1,000 per conventional system.
well, the talks that I've had with Fuss, they have commented that this is coming in far less than they expected, but I have not recently looked at the numbers.
I'm not criticizing, I'm just trying to
No,
understand
no,
how this is going to
I
happen.
seem to have a terrible time explaining this. Let me see, wait a minute.
Is it possible to say that, take a different approach perhaps, that, you know, we'll hold Fuss and O'Neill to their estimate and ask them to justify more than, if they're wanting to
Okay,
ask us for more than that amount?
here is Meadowood 1 through the end of February. The total cost to that date is $9,255.27. And there are 27 properties in Ingham Hill, Meadowood 1. So, yeah, they have done a very nice job.
So that's through February, there, we don't expect any more bills on?
Oh, I'm sure there'll be some others, but that is the majority of the work, and that is all billed conventional upgrade.
And, okay, I'm thinking that we might be close to what we had talked about, you know, last fall.
Well,
and trying to separate
What we
construction
wanted,
costs and soft costs, which we don't use
well,
anymore.
here is an example that we are billed under a category called General Consulting Services and OSWPCA support. For the same period of time, those charges have come to a total of $8,453.37. Those under the protocol are not absorbed by the individual property owners. And then everything else in my little dance card here is all for one contract or another. And they're all broken out by contract.
That's it.
Okay. Thank you. business? Okay. We'll now open it for public comment, if anyone cares to speak.
Any update for those of us looking for as-bills that are correct? Been 3 weeks. It was in the day after the meeting, so Gracia said I should go to CRAD because they signed off on it. Well, Bob went out there, spoke to CRAD, they haven't gotten back to him in 3 weeks. And of course, it's not CRAD's problem, the numbers came from your contractors out there making the as-built wrong, so, you know, let's try to get that finished. The local surveyor can't give his client the product, you know, simple addition, and everything needs to be plotted on the plan, and when the as-built doesn't work, help. So, just wondering if there's an update, apparently not. I don't even know, Elsa, do you know about the I didn't think so. Stephen Mangella, do you know about the incorrect as-built?
No.
Wow,
Really?
wow. The town records are bad, so we found one as-built.
If it's been reported to us, we're dealing with it, and someone on the staff is.
Okay, all right, well,
I don't know right now what.
you just answered that you didn't even know about it, and Elsa didn't know about it, so I just bringing it up again. Well, yeah, you're holding up someone's life, number one, they wanna add on to their house,
Is
but
this
the town.
is this your property that you're talking
No.
about?
No, but it's a town record that's incorrect, provided by your contractors, Mr. Mangella. Thank you.
Mr. Kinzer?
I'm curious about the cost of the approved contract from the special meeting. I never heard, never saw, do not know anything about numbers. Is there someplace this is available?
Is the contract,
Yeah, I mean, we
Been
have the
signed.
contract, we
Yeah.
know what the amount is, the board approved it in that amount.
But it was never mentioned.
well, it's available, you can look at a copy of it.
Okay, thank you.
I thought we did mention a total when we approved
I
the
don't
contract.
recall, but,
The contract isn't available, I mean, but we could
oh, okay.
definitely come up with a number.
Okay, if there are no more comments,
And by the way, that work had to be approved by the state.
Yeah.
DEP, and will be paid for through those funds.
I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn our meeting at 8:03 PM.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Are you on a tummy time or?